If there's one category you do not need to splurge on, it is powder bronzer. The Drugstore has you covered, whether it's a matte formula or a glowy formula. I'm going to give you the 6 best powder bronzers that you can purchase at an affordable price tag, and they perform as good as or even better than high-end bronzers. So I'm going to start off with glowy bronzers because those are my personal favorites. The newest star to my collection is the NYX Buttermelt bronzer. This has gone viral for good reason. It is so smooth on the skin. It blends like a dream. Now, this is not for the faint of heart. It is ultra pigmented, so go in with a light hand. But that is amazing because it will work for a wide variety of skin tones. And that is one thing about bronzer at the drugstore that they could definitely improve on, is that the shade ranges, the variety in undertones and in depth is not always the best at the drugstore, but NYX has you covered. And another great thing about this is that a lot of these tones lean more on the rosy cool tone side. So if you find that a lot of bronzers pull really orangey, too yellow, or even too red, check out the NYX Buttermelt bronzers because they have a really nice neutral, slightly like rosy undertone, but it's not anything too terracotta, not anything too orange. You're not gonna look like an Oompa Loompa. It smells like coconut, so if you don't like fragrance, you are not going to like this because it is pretty heavily scented, but I think it smells fantastic, especially heading into the summer beachy months. So I don't know if you can tell on camera, but I have definitely already made a huge dent in this because it is so gorgeous. I love it, cannot recommend it enough. An older favorite, but still just as good, is the L'Oreal True Match Lumi Bronze It Bronzer. I have a hair here. Okay. You can tell by the packaging that it is pretty well loved, but I don't even care that the packaging is a little bit cheapy because the formula of the bronzer itself is so luxurious. You can see I've hit pan on this, and I don't know if you can tell in the pan, this one does have a little bit of a sheen, just like the NYX. This doesn't have glitter or sparkle in it. The NYX one doesn't either. None of these luminous bronzers that I'm sharing with you have sparkle or glitter. They're just like a sheen on the skin. So it just looks so natural, so healthy. It gives you that little bit of like a summer glow without being overboard. It looks great in the sunlight, and you get such a big pan in this. Like, this has lasted me forever. So if you want to bronze up the body, you can take a huge brush and just go crazy and bronze up the shoulders, the collarbone, all of that stuff. It is such a beautiful formula. It's pigmented, but not as pigmented as the NYX. So if you tried the NYX Buttermelt bronzer and that one was just too pigmented for you, you might like this one better because it's more buildable. The first pass is going to be a little bit more sheer, and then you can build up as you layer it, if that makes sense. Blends like a dream, looks super natural, and I love the tone of this one because it's like the perfect neutral tone. It's not too warm, but it's not as cool tone or rosy as the NYX Buttermelt bronzer. So if that one is too rosy tone for you, you might like the tone of this one because it's more neutral, I would say. The only downside to these L'Oreal Lumi bronzers, I think they only have 2 shades, so that kind of stinks. L'Oreal, we do need a shade expansion because the formula is so good. Oh, and I have the shade 01 Light, by the way. And in the NYX Buttermelt bronzer, I have the shade Buttercup, which I believe is the lightest shade. The last bronzer formula in the luminous category are the Flower Beauty Heatwave Luminous Bronzers. I have 2 shades. I think they only offer 2 shades, which again, just like L'Oreal, come on, we need a shade expansion. Flower Beauty, Drew Barrymore, we need some darker shades. So there is a more cool toned one called Sunrise. You can see this one has more of a rosy, cool undertone. And then there is a very warm one called Sunswept. For me personally, in my complexion, I do prefer the cool tone one, Sunrise, but I like the warmer tone one, Sunswept, if I'm doing a super bronzy, summery look, or if I have a lot of color to my skin. If I'm super tan, I do reach into this one. Sometimes I like to mix them as well, just because there's not like a perfect neutral shade. It's very cool or very warm. So that would be my only complaint with this formula, is that I do wish there were more shades available, but the formula itself is so gorgeous. This is a baked formula, so it's a little bit thinner than the NYX Buttermelt bronzer or the L'Oreal True Match bronzer. Those ones have a little bit more kick up, I would say. When you swirl your brush around, you're gonna get a little bit of a powdery dust. So you want to tap off the excess. These ones are not as powdery because they are more of that baked formula. I love the marbling, and you can see there it has a little bit of a sheen to it, but again, no sparkle, no glitter. These are very pigmented, so I would recommend starting off with a light hand and building as you go, but they blend like a dream and they're just so good. I've had these for years. They've lasted me so long. This was way more domed when I bought it, but definitely have given it lots of love and attention. So definitely gotten my use out of it, but it's still going strong. So can't recommend these enough. Now, like I said, I personally prefer, why did I say it like that? I would choose a Luminous powder bronzer. That's just my preference. I feel like they look more natural on the skin, and I do have more dry skin. So, I don't know. I just like having a little bit of glow because I don't have it naturally. However, there is a time and a place for a matte bronzer, especially if you want to contour, add a little bit of structure. Shadows usually don't have glitter or luminescence, pearlescence to it. You know what I mean? It's more flat. So there are certain times when I like a matte formula, and these three that I have are the best of the best, the creme de la creme, cream of the crop, okay? Starting off, Miss L'Oreal, Mr. L'Oreal. L'Oreal is killing it. I swear, it's one of my favorite drugstore brands. I am not a huge fan of the prices. Like, L'Oreal, what are you doing out there? Everything's like $15. That's kind of high. That's a little bit high for a drugstore brand, but I will say their formulas are very, very good. Most everything that I've tried, I'm a huge fan of, especially their bronzers. I love the L'Oreal Lumi bronzer, and I also love this one. So if you don't like a luminous bronzer, try this one from L'Oreal. This is the L'Oreal Infallible 24-Hour Fresh Wear Bronzer, Soft Matte Finish, Waterproof. I have the shade 200 Fair. Again, you can see I have made a good little divot in this product. Unlike the L'Oreal, the Lumi bronzer, this one has a really good shade range. So L'Oreal did improve with the shade range on this one. So if you struggle finding a shade, the Infallible line probably has one that will suit you. Don't quote me on that, but there's probably a higher chance that you find one that suits you. I love how velvety and smooth this formula is. It literally feels like you're touching like suede or just a really luxurious material. I don't know how else to describe it. There's not a lot of hiccup with this product, but it is very, very pigmented. So again, go in with a light hand, but you can blend it out, sheer it out, you can build it up. It's just a really great foolproof formula that lasts really well on the skin. This is the bronzer that I'm wearing today, and literally I have no complaints with it. It's just a really solid matte powder bronzer. The next matte bronzer I wanted to mention is from Essence. So this is probably the most affordable bronzer in this video. It's their Contouring Duo palette. Again, the shade range, not the best. There's only 2 options when it comes to these little palettes. I have the lighter one called Lighter Skin. Ooh, the reason why I like this formula is because, again, it's very, very velvety, very smooth, blends out so easily. It's not patchy at all. It's just a gorgeous formula, but if I'm being honest, the main reason why I love this is because of this shade, which it looks almost like it would be my skin tone in the pan, but I'm telling you, in the winter months when I'm super duper 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 fair, and all my bronzers are just looking super muddy on my skin, too intense, this gives me just the right hint of color, of structure without being overpowering. You can mix these two together if you want just a little bit more pigment. It's so versatile. You can use it for a quick eyeshadow look, and again, it's just such a dream to work with. So if you're very, 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 very fair and you struggle to find a good shade for yourself, I would definitely recommend this because this is one of the lightest bronzer shades I've ever found. Last but not least, I did want to give a shout out to my little bronzing duo from Juvias Place. I have the one in the shade Light. First of all, let me just say the packaging on this is so gorgeous. Probably the best packaging out of all the bronzers that I shared today. It has a little magnetic closure. It comes with a mirror, which is so handy for traveling. I've taken this traveling before. And another reason why it's so great for travel is because you get options. You get a cooler tone bronzer and then a warmer tone bronzer. And again, you can mix them together, you can use them separately. The formula on this is probably the most hard-pressed bronzer, but don't let that scare you. You can still get pigment. You can see it comes up easily. It just doesn't have any powderiness, any kick up, any fallout. So if you do not like any powderiness, any kick up, any fallout, this is the formula for you because it's just so smooth. It never looks chalky, powdery, blends like a dream. It is buildable, and they have a really great shade variety as well. And of course you get the 2 undertones. This is the most pricey out of all of the bronzers. I believe it's $18, but I will say that Juvias Place has a lot of sales, and Ulta also offers a lot of discounts and promotions when it comes to Juvias Place. So I would recommend waiting to purchase this until it's on sale. You can usually get a pretty good discount. And if you think about it, you get 2 products in one. So I think it's worth it. You really can't beat the quality for the quantity that you're getting. So I would highly recommend this, especially if you want to support more indie brands, less well-known brands, and you really want something that's gonna be super versatile and great for travel. Definitely recommend these little bronzing duos from Juvias Place. Also love the blush duos as well. So yeah guys, those are all of the best powder bronzers available at the drugstore. Let me know in the comments down below, do you like any of these formulas? What powder bronzer is your all-time favorite? If I haven't tried it, I will definitely check it out. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, found it helpful. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you did, and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. I love you guys so much. I hope you all are doing so well, and I'll catch you in my next video.